What's up, guys? I'm back with another movie review. Today I've got one from Pure Flix, and it is God's Not Dead. I watched in a double feature with God's Not Dead 2, but I'll review that in its own review. So, God's Not Dead is the story about a college freshman. He's a Christian, he wears the cross around his neck, which when he's signing up for his classes gets the attention of the person who's running the sign up sheet. And he finds out that he signed up for a particular teacher's philosophy class, and he just kind of warns him, like, hey, that teacher really doesn't like, organized religion. He's not going to appreciate the fact that you're a Christian, and it might actually have an impact, on your grades in the class. And the guy's like, well, hey, I don't really care. I'm going to take the class anyway. So he does, and on the very first day of class, the professor, who is played by Kevin Sorbo of Hercules fame, which is awesome, he tells the class that if everyone will write down on a piece of paper that God is dead, then they can skip over all of the religious aspects of philosophy and focus on secular philosophy and ideas, instead of having to get into the debate of whether or not God exists and the impact that would have on philosophy. Everybody signs it except for the one kid, which really irritates Hercules, and he's not happy about it. And so he says, well, look, if you're going to want to waste the class's time, then here's what's going to happen. You're going to do a debate. You're going to have three, opportunities to prove that God does exist. And if you can get the class to agree with you that maybe God does exist, then I'll give you a good grade. And if not, I'll give you a terrible grade. At the same time, there's a reporter who is very anti-Duck Dynasty, apparently. And she discovers that she's having health problems. There's a pastor trying to get a rental car that's having no luck whatsoever, and there's all these threads coming together. But it centers in on this college kid versus Hercules over whether or not God is real. God's Not Dead is going to appeal primarily to two groups of people, in my opinion. You're going to have the Christians who are interested in seeing Christian-related, faith-based films, and then you're also going to have people who are maybe interested in the B-movie value of it, with it being maybe so bad that it's fun to watch. I think both of those camps will be happy here, but I think the B-movie fans will be more happy. My issue with God's Not Dead is that the main storyline is very combative, which is fine. You don't have to play it safe, but I feel like it's so heavy-handed, and it's so like everyone who's a Christian is a great person, anyone who's not a Christian is a horrible human being. That's a theme that comes back over and over again in this movie, and I just don't really think it's fair. There's really no middle ground. And again, are you really going to win the hearts and minds of maybe non-believers when you present things in such a combative, one-sided way? I don't think so. So I really feel like God's Not Dead is more preaching to the choir than it is trying to show the world, like, hey, we Christians are open-minded and understanding and accepting, because that's certainly not what comes across in the movie. But I don't really think it, is a terrible statement about Christianity. I just think it's a movie for Christians, made by Christians, that doesn't really have much appeal to non-believers, because it is so heavy-handed and, one-sided. It does kind of demonize, people who don't believe. It makes it seem like everybody who's not a believer wants to shut down the whole religion, which I don't think is the case. Now, if you're here for the B-movie stuff, it's here. Kevin Sorbo is great. He dials up his performance. It's super campy, super hammy. The fact that it is so one-sided, again, plays into that B-movie vibes of adding so much unintentional humor. The reporter, who is just an absolute just witch. She is so easy to hate. She's such a just awful, nasty person. I would love to see her in a Lifetime movie as a villain, actually. Her storyline here is great. Watching her torment the Duck Dynasty people is hilarious. And then, honestly, to me, the best part of this movie, whether you're here for the B-movie stuff or you're here for sincere reasons, is David A.R. White, who plays a pastor who's a recurring presence in these God's Not Dead movies. He just has a really grounded, down-to-earth, kind of simple story of trying to get a rental car that works, and just all the trials and tribulations that go along with that. It's a really interesting part of the movie. It's a very, it just has more of like a welcoming feel to it, I guess. Which kind of falls apart at the end whenever there's a really super heavy-handed moment that involves him. But overall, I thought his strand was really fun. So whether you're here, because you want to see something that's so bad that it's good, which I certainly think applies to God's Not Dead, or whether you're a Christian who wants to kind of just have your beliefs reinforced, God's Not Dead is probably going to be something that you'll appreciate. But if you're looking for more of like a welcoming, message for non-believers, you're probably not going to find it here. That's my review of God's Not Dead. Again, I thought it was fun just because it was so ridiculous at times. I actually have a soft spot for a lot of the Christian movies because I do appreciate that it's kind of an uphill climb for a lot of them to even get their movies made into an audience, so I appreciate it from that perspective. But I wish it was more non-combative and maybe something that was a little bit more warm and welcoming that happened to involve Christian themes, kind of like I Can Only Imagine, which I think kind of avoided all this like combative nature. So anyway, sorry for this running long. If you want to read my full write-up, you can go to markfusion.com and check that out. I'm also on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch at markfusion if you want to see what I'm doing there. I'm also on Letterboxd at markfusion if you want to see what I'm watching, a diary, what I've been watching there. You can see what might be coming up here. But the best way to help me out is just to hit that sub button. It's a free, easy, direct way to support me. Help me to keep watching this incredibly wide scope of movies and talking to them about you guys because I love doing that. Also, watching old videos is a huge help as well. There's not a ton of Christian movies on here, but there are some. There's also a lot of Lifetime movies, cult movies, all kinds of stuff. So watching those old videos is a massive help to me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I do appreciate it. Hopefully nobody is offended. I think I was pretty fair-handed about it. And hopefully I'll see you guys soon.